Hello, boys and girls. It's me, Miss Sophia, here with your first grade ELA lesson for the day. How's everyone doing today? Wonderful. I want to jump right into our lesson today and get started. So let's see what we have going on for today, boys and girls. As I mentioned, I am Miss Sophia, again, your first grade ELA teacher. Today we're going to be working on our word of the day, a little bit of segmenting and blending review. We're going to take a little stretch break, read a story called Gnat, and then work on some sight words and some spelling words, boys and girls. So let's jump right in with our word of the day. Boys and girls, I want you to look at the word of the day and try to sound out what you think the word of the day is. I want you to do this on your own. Go ahead. Good job. Let's try it together. The first letter is a letter P, and it makes the sound P. P. The second letter is the letter A, and it makes the sound A, A, A. The third letter is the letter T, and it makes the sound T, T. So if we put those words together, or those letters together, we get the word pat. At. Boys and girls, how many letters are in our word of the day? Let's count them together. Fingers up, follow along with me. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 letters in our word of the day today, boys and girls. All right, now let's talk about the vowels. Boys and girls, do you remember what our vowels are? Let's review. A, E, I, O, U. Boys and girls, do you see any of those letters in our word of the day? You do. What letter is a vowel? Good job, boys and girls. It's the letter A. So there is 1 vowel in our word of the day. Now, boys and girls, let's talk about the consonants. Remember, these are any letters that don't make a vowel sound. So no A, E, I, O, or U. So let's count them together. Using your finger, follow along with me. 1, not that one. 2. Good job, boys and girls. There are 2 consonants in our word of the day. Now, lastly, let's do our syllables. Now, boys and girls, when we do our syllables, remember we need to stretch out the sound and clap it as we say it. So for this activity, we put our hands up. We turn our hands together like so, and we say the word as we clap the syllable. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Pat. One more time together. Pat. Good job, boys and girls. So we have 1 syllable in our word of the day. So now let's use our word of the day in a sentence, boys and girls. Before we read my sentence, I want you to try to think of your own sentence by yourself. Take a little time, think about it, and on the count of 3, you can tell me what your sentence is using the word pat. Keep thinking. All right, boys and girls, here we go. On the count of 3, tell me what your sentence is. 1, 2, 3. Oh, those are very good sentences, boys and girls. I like those. Let's read mine. Read along with me. Using your pointer finger, follow along as I say each word. My dog's name is Pat. My dog's name is Pat. Good job, boys and girls. Now, who can tell me 3 really important things about our sentences, boys and girls? When we're building a sentence, what are 3 things we have to have? Go ahead. On the count of 3, tell me what you're thinking of. 1, 2, 3. Shout it out. Good job, boys and girls. Yes, you have to have a capital letter at the beginning of your sentence, boys and girls. You need to have a space in between each word so we know it's not just one big word pushed together. And lastly, boys and girls, you need to have punctuation at the end of your sentence. So for this sentence today, we're using a period, and that lets the reader know that the sentence is over or that you finished your thought. Good job, boys and girls. So now let's move on to our segmenting and blending. Now I know a lot of you have watched my lessons before, so you already know what strategy we use when we're doing our segmenting and blending. But for those of you who are just joining us and this is your first lesson with Miss Sophia, we have a really fun strategy that we use when we're segmenting and blending. And remember, segmenting is when you're separating the sounds in a word, and blending is when you're pushing them right back together, you're blending them together. So for segmenting, boys and girls, here's our strategy. You start by putting your hand up, almost like you're saying, stop, okay? And then you're gonna fold this thumb right here into the palm of your hand. It's gonna look something like this. And it's a little tricky at first, but with practice, you'll get it. You can do it with either hand, whatever's more comfortable for you. Now for segmenting, we use these fingers and we wiggle them to each sound that we hear in a word. So let's start with our first word, boys and girls. Fun. So follow along with me. One more time. Remember, make sure you're doing the strategy with us. It's really going to help you understand the breakdown of each sound in the word. Here we go. Boys and girls, how many sounds do you hear in our word? Good job, boys and girls. There are 3 sounds in our word. Now let's try our next word, boys and girls. Let's try the word pit. Are you ready? P-I-T. P-I-T. One more time together. P-I-T. How many sounds do you hear, boys and girls? P-I-T. Good job, boys and girls. There are 3 sounds. So see, it's easy, boys and girls. We just took 2 different words, found out how many sounds were in each word, and it only took us a minute. So let's go on and check out our blending. So for blending, boys and girls, the strategy is a little different, and I'm going to show you what it is. So for the blending strategy, boys and girls, you're gonna put your hand up like we did before, like you're saying, stop. And instead of folding this thumb all the way down, you're just gonna kind of hold it in front of you. So it's gonna kind of look like this, kind of like you're holding something. And you can do either hand, okay? And then with each sound you hear, you're going to tap your fingers together. So let's try it, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. A little faster. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Faster. See, it's kind of hard, but once you get used to it, it'll be really easy, okay? Keep practicing, tapping each finger, okay? And then let's try our words. So our first word is going to be the word stay. So I'm going to give you the word stay, and I'm going to show you how we would blend it together. And then instead of giving you the word next time, I'm just going to give you the sounds, okay? So this is our practice one. Here we go. Stay. Stay. You hear it? Stay. How many sounds do you hear, boys and girls? Good job. There are 3 sounds. Now for our next one, boys and girls, I'm going to give you the sound only. Okay? Are you ready? Listen closely, okay? At. You listening? At. At. Let's try it together. Using your strategy. Fingers up. Thumb forward. At. One more time. At. Boys and girls, what word do you hear when you put all of the sounds together? Good job, boys and girls. The word we were looking for is the word hat. Now let's try one more. I'm only going to give you the sound, so listen closely. You hear it? I'm adding a s at the end of the word hat. So instead of having at, I have hats. You hear it? Hats. Good job, boys and girls. That one's a little tricky because the T and the S kind of start to sound very similar. So now that we've reviewed our blending and our segmenting, boys and girls, I have something for you to do on your own. So I have two words here, boys and girls. The first box over here is the word I would like you to segment. Remember, segmenting is when you take the word and you break it apart to get each sound. In this box over here, I want you to blend our word back together. So you can see each letter has been separated, so you know each letter represents a sound. So now what you're gonna wanna do is pause the video and practice segmenting this word over here and blending this word over here. When you've done that independently and you're all done, go ahead and unpause the video and we'll jump right into our next portion of our lesson. Welcome back, boys and girls. So now we're going to read a story, and this story is entitled Gnat. Now, boys and girls, looking at this story, can you take a guess on what you think the story might be about? On the count of 3, you tell me what you think the story is about. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, I think you're right. It looks like it's about a kid, maybe a boy, and maybe his name is Nat because that's the title of our story today. And then, boys and girls, it looks like Nat is wearing something. It's orange or maybe red. What is he wearing? What is that? Yeah, that looks like a life jacket or a life vest. And why do you use that, boys and girls? Oh, when you're swimming or when you're going in water, it helps you float. So do we think that maybe this story has something to do with him maybe by water? Yeah, could be. Let's try it out. All right, let's see what we got here, boys and girls. I'm going to read the story, but I want you to follow along with me. If you know the words, go ahead and say them along with me, okay? The title of our book is Gnat. This is Gnat. Gnat is a kid I met at camp. All right, boys and girls, I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, how many sentences are on this page? Now remember, each sentence needs to have a capital letter, it needs to have words with spaces in between each word, and it needs to end with punctuation. So go ahead, look at the page and you tell me how many sentences do you see? Very good, boys and girls, there are 2 sentences on this page. The first sentence is, this is Nat. We know it's a sentence because it has a capital letter, spaces in between each word, and a period at the very end. Our second sentence is, Nat is a kid I met at camp. We know this is a sentence because, again, it starts with a capital letter, We have spaces in between each word, and it ends with a period, letting the reader know that the thought is finished or the sentence is done. I do have some sounds to go around with our story today, boys and girls, so I want you to make sure you have your listening ears on and listen. I want you to tell me what you hear when I play the sound. Let's do it again. What do you hear, boys and girls? Yeah, it sounds like birds, which tells me that maybe Nat is outside. Yeah, now let's see what happens next. I have lots of snapshots of Nat. This is a snapshot of Nat with a fish. Boys and girls, how many sentences are on this page? Go ahead, take a second to count. Very good, boys and girls. We have 2 sentences on this page. We know that because each of our sentences start with a capital letter, have spaces in between the words, and end in a punctuation mark. Let's see, we have a sound for this page as well, so let's get started. Let's play it again. Listen closely and tell me what you think you hear. Yeah, I think it sounds like fish. Maybe it's Nat catching a fish out of the water, or maybe we're hearing him throw the fish back in the water, but it definitely sounds like something in the water. All right, this is a snapshot of Nat on a raft. Boys and girls, how many sentences are on this page? You're so smart, kiss your brain. You're right, there is only 1 sentence on this page. Again, we know because we have a capital letter, words with spaces, and a punctuation mark at the end. In this case, we're using a period. Now, boys and girls, I want us to look at the sentence and go ahead and count how many words make up the sentence. Let's count together. Follow along with your pointer finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This sentence has 10 words. Let's listen to the sound. Listen closely. What did you hear, boys and girls? Yeah, it kind of sounded maybe like some wind blowing. You could hear birds, some trees swaying back and forth, and I heard water. It was nice, right? Kind of like he was at the like a pond or maybe somewhere swimming. Let's see what happens next. Nat and I have lots of fun at camp. But then Nat's mom got a job in the UK. Nat left, and I felt sad. Let's read that again. I'm gonna do something while I'm reading, and maybe you can catch it, okay? So just listen carefully. Nat and I had lots of fun at camp. But then Nat's mom got a job in the UK. Nat left, and I felt sad. Boys and girls, did you notice anything while I was reading? Huh. Well, let's see. So boys and girls, there are a few different things about this page that I want to talk about. One of them being what I did while I was reading. So first of all, let's go down here to the bottom. We have the sentence, Nat left. And you'll notice in between the sentence, I stopped and I kind of took a breath. So I said, Nat left. And I felt sad. End of sentence. You'll notice at the bottom here, boys and girls, there's something called a comma. Now, a comma is usually in the middle of a sentence, and it lets the reader know that they can take a small break. So you just take a normal breath. I exaggerated, which means I made my breath look like it was longer and sound very dramatic. I said, so that you could tell I was taking a break. But normally when you would read a sentence with a comma in it, it would sound like this. Nat left, and I felt sad. But if you don't have a comma there, it would sound like this. Nat left, and I felt sad. Do you see the difference? Putting the comma after Nat left gives the reader a second to reflect on what's happening. And it lets you know that maybe she's feeling sad or she's feeling a certain way. And she needs a moment to express how she's feeling. So that's the first thing I want to talk about, boys and girls. The next thing is if you come up here and you look at the word gnats right here, you'll see something that kind of looks like a comma, but it's on top of the word instead of the bottom of the word, boys and girls. That is called an apostrophe. And an apostrophe lets the reader know that something belongs to that character. So in this instant, Nat's mom, the story is letting the reader know that the mom in the story belongs to Nat. It's not Nancy's mom or Cheryl's mom or Karen's mom. It's Nat's mom. And then the last thing I want to talk about, boys and girls, are these two dots here in the word UK. Does anyone know what the letters UK stand for? Yeah, it's kind of hard if you don't know. It stands for United Kingdom, boys and girls. And the United Kingdom is abbreviated into the letters UK. You'll notice that both letters are capitalized, and you'll notice there are dots in between the letters. That symbolizes that it is being abbreviated or shortened for the reader. So instead of having to say the United Kingdom every single time you read it, you can just say the UK. So we do have a sound to go with this page, boys and girls. So go ahead and listen to it and tell me what you hear. One more time, listen closely. What did you hear, boys and girls? Yes, it sounded like a car, and you can probably hear that's Nat's mom's car. She's starting it, and he's waving goodbye, my friends, and he's leaving camp, boys and girls. So now we've talked a little bit about the story. We talked about commas, apostrophes, we talked about building a sentence, and all of that, and we're almost done with today's lesson. We do have a few more things I want to get done, but before we do that, I want everyone to just kind of stretch out a little bit. I know that we've been sitting for a while and maybe you're a little tired, so let's kind of move a little bit. I'm going to put my hand straight out in front of me and I'm just going to wiggle my fingers a little bit like this. And maybe I'm going to sway like this. And then the last thing I'm going to do is roll my shoulders backwards 3 times. So do it with me. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to roll them forward 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Doesn't that feel better? I know sometimes after sitting for a really long time, I just need to get up and move a little bit. So let's go on to our final part of our lesson today, boys and girls. So for our final part of our lesson about gnats today, boys and girls, we are going to answer some questions. Now, these are questions that you're going to answer either independently, or if you're with a group, you're going to answer it with your group. So for this part, boys and girls, you're going to pause the lesson and you're going to go through each question, therefore, and you're going to answer them. You can answer these questions by writing your answers on a lined piece of paper, or if you're with a group and you choose to do just a discussion and talk about the questions back and forth, you can do that as well. So I'm going to read the questions to you, and then we're going to pause the video. Question number 1, Who was the story about? Question number 2, what happened in the story? Question number 3, where did the story take place? And question number 4, why did Nat have to leave camp? All right, boys and girls, let's pause the video and take some time to answer these questions. When you're all done, come on back and we'll move on to the final part of our lesson. Welcome back, boys and girls. So here we are at our final part of the lesson today, boys and girls. And today we are going to be talking about our sight words. So for those of you who know, sight words are words that you can't sound out. They're just words you have to look at and you have to know them. And the only way that we can do this is by constantly seeing these words. We need to read these words. We need to see these words. We need to write these words, boys and girls. So if you've been in Miss Sophia's lessons before, you know that we started our sight words earlier in the week. And we started with 5 words, boys and girls. And those words were the words I have here on my back wall. So the first word we worked on last week was the word and, A-N-D, and. The second word we worked on was an easy one. This is the word A. It's also the letter A, so that's an easy one to remember. We talked about the word the, T-H-E. We talked about the word of, O-F. And lastly, we talked about the word to, T-O. This week, we have 5 new words that we're going to be introducing. They are it, that, you, in, is. Now, how we do our sight words, boys and girls, is we are going to say it, spell it, and say it. So here we go. Say it with me, okay, boys and girls? Is. I-S, is. Good job. In. I-N, in. It. I-T, it. That. T-H-A-T, that. You. Y-O-U. All right, boys and girls, so for our last part of the lesson today, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil. Now, what I want you to do is practice writing each one of these words. So you're going to write each word 3 times. So you're going to write is, in, you. You're going to do that for each of our word of the day. And then you're going to pick one word, so any word from this list, and I want you to use it in a sentence. You can either verbally say the sentence out loud to a friend or to a teacher or a parent, or you can write the word down in your own sentence. So for this, you're just gonna pause the video. It should take you about 7 to 10 minutes to do this, and then come on back and we'll say our goodbyes for the day. Alrighty, so welcome back, boys and girls. So now that you've completed your sight word and your spelling words, we are all done for the day. I just want to check and make sure that we've completed everything we needed. So first, boys and girls, today we did some segmenting and blending review. We read a story and we went over different types of punctuation and how to build a sentence. We also went over our word of the day. We answered questions about a story, including the who, what, when, where of the story. And then lastly, we reviewed our sight words and we did some spelling and writing, boys and girls. So that's the end of today's lesson for us. I look forward to seeing you all again. Bye, my friends.